My name is Adelaide Marcus, and today I have Anthony joining us. Say hello. Hi! So I'm not a ventriloquist, but I am a belly dance teacher, and I wanted to take this opportunity, since Anthony came into my life, to kind of demonstrate a few things. That being said, Anthony, will you turn around? Sure. So today I want to talk about something I talk about a lot in my belly dance classes, and that is this area here. It's called the coccyx, or more commonly referred to as the tailbone. And as you can see, it's kind of like a little triangle with the 2 points here and then the very tip down here. And so in belly dance, I talk about that triangle, and we're actually pointing the very tip of the tailbone down towards the floor. I also talk about that triangle being here in the front. We've got the 2 hip bones and the pelvic bone down bottom. So Anthony, thank you so much. You're doing awesome. So we have the tailbone here and the 2 hip bones. And so I talk about pulling the tip of the pelvic bone up, which actually brings the tip of the tailbone down. Now, it's different than kind of thrusting forward, because as you can see, that's a front and back motion, and you're totally welcome to do that on your own personal time. But in belly dancing, we want to kind of roll the lower body up and tuck that tailbone, or that imaginary tail, through the legs and up. And when we do this, we kind of take away the natural arch. So a lot of people in belly dancing say like, oh, I can't really tuck because I have a really big arch. Well, as you can see, I have a pretty big natural arch as well. But in belly dance, when we bend the knees and tuck, we take away that arch, and what we're doing beyond that is we're actually opening up the space in between the vertebrae. So let's take a little closer look here at Anthony. So we have each vertebrae, and then there's kind of like this gelatin in between. And in Eastern philosophy, they talk about the spine, the vertebrae, the space in between it being like little gates. So instead, if they're fused together, then nothing's allowed in or out. And when the gates open, unfortunately, he has a rod in his pole, he has a rod up his spine, so he can't really move right now, but I can. So I'll demonstrate. But when we open up, or when we tuck, we're opening up those gates. And when you think about the different like major cavities in the body, we've got, and in like Chinese and Eastern philosophy, there's like 3 main dantians, and of course there's multiple energetic centers along that. So the phone cut me off, but I'm going to pick up where we left off, which was at the 3 major bone cavities in the body: the pelvis, the rib cage, and the skull, housing our stomach, housing our heart, housing our brain and our mind. So they're obviously very vital for our life. And so by moving through the spine, we are unlocking and allowing energy to come in and out. As we tuck the coccyx down, or the tailbone down, we open up the lower spine, and we can allow energy to pour through the backs of the legs. That's like the yang meridians, and up the inner fronts of the legs, the yin, which is like the receptive and nourishing aspect. So we're pulling that up into the earth, and then we actually lock into the lower dantian here. And from there, we can access and open some of the gates in the upper body without necessarily arching, curving the whole spine. So isolation is a big part of belly dance, which we won't get into too much today. But I wanted to kind of use this opportunity of having our beautiful guest Anthony to talk a little bit more about that. I also do find it interesting that the lower spine is called the tailbone, and in a lot of spiritual and yogic practices, they talk about kundalini, which is that potential energy being coiled like 2 snakes at the bottom of the spine, coiled at the tailbone. And when you think about belly dancing and the movement through the spine, there's nothing more serpentine than that. And trust me, I'm a snake lover, as most of you know, and they are basically one long spine. And in the spine and the 3 major cavities in our bodies, the rib cage, the pelvis, and the skull, there's different chakras related to that. So maybe I'll get a little bit more into that in another video. I will be doing some online belly dance courses soon enough. I'm working on cloning myself at the moment. I think that's going pretty well, don't you, Anthony? Yeah, the future is not far away. All right, so they'll be coming soon. If you want to see more, you can subscribe to my YouTube, Art by Adelaide, Instagram, Art by Adelaide, and Facebook, Adelaide Marcus, I use quite often. So I hope that was informative, and please tag anybody who enjoys belly dance, who enjoys learning about the body, and I look forward to shimming with you soon. Say bye, Anthony. Bye.